best to be succinct, but I cannot promise that today. I did not think we would be really litigating this case today, but here we are, and so I am in a position of having to go on serious defense, which I do not like doing at these hearings. The government has come in here and referred to, first of all, Tanzerius Anderson is not taking responsibility. As I think the board knows, people are not black and white, and very few would fit the definition of just plain evil. I understand as much as I can why a victim's family would want to view Tanzerius in black and white terms as just an evil person who purposely executed an innocent man. However, that is not what happened, and Tanzerius has tried to explain that. He has said he shot the gun. Yes, he uses words that I hear the government say is minimizing. I think what the government is not understanding is that it was a high-stress, highly spontaneous, impulsive situation that went sideways very quickly. There have been a lot of questions today about whether he's telling the truth about what happened before or after comments that were made. So I will clarify some of the record. I'm not sure if the trial transcripts were before the board. When I read the trial transcripts, I would have thought that both Tanzerius and Jason were both innocent. I thought there were excellent arguments that they did not do this crime. And the reason why I thought that is because the two witnesses were highly, highly problematic. Throughout the entire trial, they were both cross-examined into saying that they lied, and they lied, and they lied, and they lied. So Tanzerius saying he did the crime, he says he did this crime. I do not find it difficult to believe that he did not do the things that he says he did not do. We went over that at length. I think given that his record is so exemplary, it's kind of hard to talk about anything but the crime in a way because the crime doesn't make any sense. Why would this young person who had so much future and was so bright, why would he do that? And I understand why the board is asking this question because I think the crime just doesn't make any sense. But we do know Mattis Diachenko and that young people do things that don't make sense, unfortunately. He explained the mixed experiences he had growing up, including a lot of violence that was in the community and around him. He did not have a father in his life. He had a stepfather who abandoned him. He loves his mother dearly, but they were in a very contentious state in adolescence. And violence was part of what he knew, and he has talked at length about the suffering that he experienced as a child, being very sick, and learning to harden himself. Tanzerius has done an incredible job of hardening himself, and when Ms. Alexander, you talked about what might be the flaw, I think the flaw that he and I have talked about is that he rarely cries. And why I call that a flaw is because he's aware of this, he has learned to be very in control because his life has been very painful, both physically and emotionally for its entirety. So he's done tremendous work to try to cope with that reality and with this crime that he was convicted of and all the complications with his best friend and co-defendant, Jason Robinson. In terms of the way that Mr. Yazbek has been described, I do feel gross bringing this up, but I am going to anyway because of the way that the government has portrayed him as an innocent do-gooder. Mr. Yazbek was a 35-year-old man who spent many evenings at a restaurant club with a 16-year-old girl who was known to be prostituting herself, or as Ms. Coughlin has cited, was being exploited. We do not know what exactly was going on with Jolena Tate, but she was clearly in a lot of high-stakes trouble. At trial, she was forced into acknowledging that she had been arrested twice for prostitution in the months after this case. In one of those instances, she lied and gave a name of a friend of hers, and said that she was somebody else so that her friend got a criminal record for prostitution and she could be let go because she knew she was being looked at after by the government. The government was seeking her out because of this crime. The second time she was arrested, individuals in law enforcement apparently knew her, and she knew that she could not give a fake name. She was highly troubled. She initiated this plan. Tanzerius has been very clear about his very grave mistakes, but he is not taking accountability for things that he did not do. Additionally, on the night of the crime, what it came out at trial was that Mr. Yazbek had Jolena Tate out and had bought her 3 Long Island iced tea drinks. So he may not have been drinking. I don't know if that's accurate or not. That's what was read to you today about him. But he sure was taking out a teenage girl and giving her a lot of drinks. So I do not like that I am here saying things like this about a victim, but I do want the board to understand the totality of the complexity of this picture. I think that there is a lot that is not super clear, to be perfectly blunt. We have young people who are in serious, serious trouble. Tanzerius has come in here and taken accountability for what he did on that night in a way that he has expressed a great deal of regret and remorse and has spent 25 years atoning for and serving time for. The Mattis decision acknowledges brain development and that people have the capacity to change. I am incredibly disappointed that the Suffolk DA's office is not basically abiding by that law in the sense of Tanzerius, as board member Coleman said, has an exemplary record. He has an unbelievably perfect record, minus 1 guilty report. There is a letter from a former DOC officer who talks about how Tanzerius basically saved the life of another CO. There is another D report that he got that was quaffed where his action was going in and pulling somebody off and removing him. So that's at least 2 instances on the record where he put his life in danger to try to help and save somebody else, including a CO, which is not high-level capital inside the DOC. He has completed over 70 programs. He's founded programs. The board has heard that. But we cannot, I can't leave this hearing with this impression about this case, of the facts of this case being what is hanging over the head. He is an absolutely phenomenal human being who has overcome, atoned, tried to do everything he can to prove that he is not the person he was at 19 years old who committed this crime. He has an incredible support system, as the board can see. He has a therapist lined up. He is going to be out making incredibly positive waves in the community. You will see him in articles. You will see him doing great things. I think you will see him getting a bachelor's degree and possibly a master's. I spoke with Dr. Hillary Binda yesterday to confirm what would happen with my turn. He cannot enter until the beginning of next year, but based on his straight A's in 16 classes, he has a 4.0. And his statement to me that he wants to try to get a very high SAT, she believes that he would be able to be a good candidate to actually earn a spot in the bachelor's program at Tufts with the support of My Turn being under his belt in advance of that. As I think the board knows, My Turn is an incredibly therapeutic, restorative justice-based community along with education. He is the testament to what Mattis is all about, that we don't want to waste our money and our human capital keeping people incarcerated until they die when they have so much to offer the world. He's made a huge difference inside, and you can see that from the letter that came in this morning from the CRA. He graduated just a couple days ago, last Friday, and there is a wonderful letter from the CRA basically saying what an incredible asset to the community he was from day one, and that they are so excited for his future. Essentially, they believe he will be getting parole because he deserves it. I hope that the board will really consider this 25 years of an exemplary record, 6+ months in minimum security and grant him the parole that he has absolutely earned. Thank you.